Hi there, I'm Mike, and what I have for you today is a recap of Pulse Con 2020 Day 2. It is the second and final day of Pulse Con, and an hour longer and way more stuff to cover, so let's get right into it. There's nothing I love more than waking up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning to stare at my computer for 6 hours. So Day 2 started right off the bat, first thing in the morning with the G.I. Joe panel. So at least it had that going for it, and they started strong with reveals right out the gate. And for once, they're reveals that we hadn't seen floating around the internet for a while. The first few reveals are actually mainline wide release, so these aren't exclusive anywhere, starting off with Zartan. Zartan has a great resemblance to his 80s counterpart. He comes with an alternate face just like the original figure, a gun, and then a monkey paw and a severed snake head, and then also a backpack that stores the alternate face and acts as weapon storage. Zartan here is a mix of Mission Impossible with a mask generating backpack and also like voodoo with a monkey paw and a severed snake's head. I don't really know what's going on there, but I kind of dig it. He also is taking advantage of the new Invisipin technology. Next up, we have Cobra Infantry, which is a trooper reveal. Your first question might be, how is this different from the Cobra Island Cobra Trooper? Well, the first thing is that the color palette is different. The deco on this is inspired by the Sunbow animation. It's also missing the goggles that came with the Cobra Island Cobra Trooper. Next, they showed off 2 more additions to the Cobra Island line, which of course are Target exclusive. The chat rightly booed this for a while, but I believe they did take it a bit too long because they were starting to boo things that, I wanted to talk about what was happening and they just kept booing Target, which I get, but at some point, it's enough. They get it. Target's awful. We all get it. Anyways, the Target exclusive Cobra Island Troopers are Firefly, who has a gray camo look and looks fantastic. The face sculpt under the mask has a lot of personality. He comes with a backpack that stores the drone and remote for the drone, which is pretty cool. He's got goggles, he's got explosives. There's a lot of fun stuff with this figure that looks really good. And finally, we have the Viper. I have no idea why Hasbro is putting another highly sought after trooper gated behind that Target exclusivity. It's beyond me who thought of that, and it's terrible. I have no idea why they're doing this. Anyways, the Viper looks great. In fact, during the reveal, I just typed out, "Oh my god," in all capital letters as my note for it. Weirdly, there weren't any Joes announced. It was all Cobra, so for the Cobra fans out there, it was a dream for you, I guess. But then they did move on to the retro line. I don't collect 3.75-inch scaled figures, so this isn't really that interesting to me, but I'm gonna go over it anyway. First, we have Roadblock, Scarlet, and Destro. I have really nothing to say about any of these. I think they look fine. So finally, they also are adding another vehicle into the retro line. This is the Cobra Fang, the personal Cobra Chopper. He also comes with a pilot. These are all Walmart exclusive, and they're showing up in stores as I speak. The last bit of the G.I. Joe panel was actually a pre-recorded message from Henry Golding, the actor who's playing Snake Eyes in the upcoming Snake Eyes Origins movie. I was kind of expecting a little bit more than a 30-second pre-recorded message. They didn't show any new footage off from the movie either. I honestly was expecting a little bit more from the new movie at this panel. The next panel up on the morning was not up my alley either, but for the people that like Zoids, this might be your thing. So they talked about 3 things that are letting Zoids come back into the current year. First, we have a new animation. Apparently the first season of the Netflix show has already aired and a second season is coming out, and they showed a trailer for that. Next, there's a video game coming out for this Zoids Wild, which is the anime. It's a Switch game, so if you're into video games or Zoids, this might be something that you're looking forward to. And then finally, we're getting the 3rd generation of Zoids toys based on the Zoids Wild anime. Again, it's not my thing, although the Stegosaurus does look pretty cool. But again, good for the people that do like Zoids. I know there are some out there. The third panel of the morning and the longest panel that we're going to talk about is the Transformers panel. This is the panel that I was looking forward to the most as an avid Transformers collector. So first we started off with the War for Cybertron Netflix panel. It had the showrunner for it and the lead animator for it, and then it was fine. It was a little boring. They did show off the poster for the new Earthrise series, which is the sequel to the War for Cybertron Siege series. And then at the end of the panel, they did show off the trailer for it. It looks good. There's no release date that I've seen. It just says coming soon. The next panel was a lot more interesting because it was the Transformers Kingdom panel. Kingdom being the third in the trilogy of toys that is War for Cybertron. First being Siege, then we've got Earthrise, and now Kingdom. They start off by explaining the story behind Kingdom, and it revolves around a time paradox, which is how they're introducing the Beast Wars lore into the proper Transformers lore we have going on. John Warden showed off all the new figures very excitedly on camera. You can tell he really enjoys this stuff. First, we have Deluxe Cheetor. Deluxe means it's basically just the $20 price point for the figure. Not my favorite design, not my favorite character. I would have liked to have the Gut Gun, but it is a good update to a classic figure. Next, we have Core Rat Trap. Core being the new Legends class, so it's the small $10 class of figure. Rat Trap looks great. Honestly, a pretty good update from the show itself. Next, we're veering away from the animals just a little bit with Voyager Cyclonus. This looks exactly like it should from the cartoon. It's a perfect little screen accurate replica in both alt and robot mode. The next is a leader class Beast Wars Megatron. I never thought my favorite reveal of the day would be a giant purple dinosaur. He's huge. In fact, pictures of him don't do him justice. It wasn't until I saw him in the guy's hands that I realized how big this figure is. It's finally a leader class figure that looks like it should be a leader class figure. Next, we have another core class reveal of Optimus Prime. They basically just made an adorable tiny little Optimus Prime. I'm gonna buy him because I buy every Optimus Prime. The next core class is part of a subline called Fossilizers. This one's Vertebrake. He's basically just a little skeleton raptor thing. I don't think it's a raptor, like a Paracephalosaurus or something. I don't know. It looks good. It's cute. It's small. And since we're back into the animals, we're going to go into the deluxe class Black Arachnia. Not a perfect alt mode, but almost. She looks great in robot mode as well. And then back to another classic figure. We have deluxe class Warpath. I'm glad that we're getting another Warpath that's its own figure and not just a recoloring of an old Megatron or something. It looks like a really good update to the original toy. And next, another fossilizer we're getting, Deluxe Paleotrax, and he's a T-Rex, which is rad. And the final Kingdom reveal is Voyager class Optimus Primal. I did not expect to like the look of this figure so much. I've got the MP Optimus Primal and I never thought I would ever need another one in my collection, but after seeing this, I'm definitely going to be putting down my money to get it. So next, just to wrap up the whole Kingdom panel, they showed off the packaging, which is using less plastics and more cardboard, so the window to see the figure is much smaller but has gorgeous artwork on the front. Also, they showed the pack-in, which is now a gold foil trading card that peels back to reveal whatever the card is. It's sort of a peel and reveal thing, which I think is better than the previous pack-ins where you're trying to decode or blacklight stuff. It was kind of dumb. I like something more substantial, like trading cards like this. Next, we had a little Transformers Prime sub panel within the panel because it's the 10th anniversary of Transformers Prime. Wow, I feel old now. But they're celebrating this by releasing some old molds that were Transformers Prime that were never released in the United States. First is actually one of my grails in the Transformers line breakdown. He's also packed with the Air Vehicon, another figure that was never released. So I'm very much looking forward to getting these. I've already got them pre-ordered. And also we're getting the Arms Micron version of Hades Megatron, another figure that was never released in the United States. He comes with 2 Arms Micron figures and looks pretty good. Next, we've got 2 reveals for the Red Line. The Red Line, if you're not sure, is a robot enhanced design. It's a 6-inch scaled, non-transforming version of the robot character. Firstly, we're getting a Transformers Prime RC. She looks great, really no kibble. She comes with alternate guns and blades. And the next figure is Beast Wars Cheetor. He's got some great sculpted fur detail, weapons, extra hands. The last Transformers toy revealed today is part of the Amazon exclusive Galactic Odyssey collection. It's sort of made to fill in the adventures that take place in between when they left Cybertron and made it to Earth. The first one, which got announced a little while ago, is the 2-pack with Earthrise Ratchet, the Earth Mode Ratchet, and Lifeline, which is an RC repaint. This one is actually Encounter 3. Somehow Encounter 2 got skipped. I don't know what's going on with that. There's going to be 5 encounters in total, they said, but this one is the Autobot clones of Fastlane and Cloud Raker. So if you didn't get one of those last time, or you want some better updates that are a little bit more G1 inspired, you got that coming right now with this clone 2-pack. The next part is the results of fan votes. Skylinks won Figure of the Year. I don't really know how. I mean, the year's not over with, so it seems like a lot can come out still, but Skylinks is a good figure, so sure. Next is the character of the year, which is Transformers Prime Knockout. And finally, we have another Transformers Hall of Fame inductee. This one is Greg Berger. Greg is a fantastic guy and 100% loves his fans. The next panel was still Transformers related, but separate. It was called Voices That Inspired a Generation. The host was Ben Montanaro, and he interviewed Peter Cullen and Frank Welker. It was a pretty substantial interview. It went on for a while, and I loved every second of it. The next part was the results of the cosplay contest. From here and until the next panel was nothing but cringe. It was awful. It was the worst part of the whole thing. John Cena was very poorly dressed as Bumblebee. I know that was part of the joke. It didn't land. They had some technical issues where the host couldn't hear anything. The John Cena bit was so cringy that I couldn't even make a joke about not seeing him because I wish it were true. But then they brought in Tenacious D and they were interviewing him, and it was the worst. It's very clear that Tenacious D nor John Cena are really into toys or even Transformers or G.I. Joe for that matter, because they didn't really understand the questions they were asking. And they didn't really understand how to answer them because they had no context. It's not their fault. I don't expect everyone like this to be a fan of Transformers, but it was really weird to do a Q&A with them when that's not their thing. But eventually they did do a concert, and the concert was great. They did about 3 or 4 songs. It was a lot of fun. They might not know a lot about toys and 80s geek properties, but they do know how to rock, and that's all that mattered. Next, we have the penultimate panel of the show, which is second to last. It's a fancy word, and that's the Ghostbusters panel. This one sort of continued that cringe, but in a different way. I think it was more of a fun cringe, but they had a little game going on. Since it was National Ghost Hunting Day, randomly some ghosts would appear on screen. You had to, in chat, do hashtag Proton Beam. It didn't work like the first 2 times. They were clearly having issues with it, but it worked the 3rd time. It was fine. So they started off talking about the Pulse Con exclusive Tully's Terrible Night, and they used the hashtag thing again to vote for your favorite Tully scene. Next, they had Ernie Hudson live, which was nice. They asked him how he liked his Plasma Series toy they sent him, and he basically just said that he gave it to his grandkids. So it's very obvious that he doesn't care about this, but that's fine. Again, he's just an actor from a movie 30 whatever years ago. It's not his fault he doesn't like toys. Then they did another interview with Mark Baudreau. I can't pronounce this guy's last name. He's a legendary designer for toys way back in the 80s with the Star Wars and Ghostbusters. So they talked a little bit about his time doing the real Ghostbusters toy line. It was a pretty good interview, and then they followed that up with an interview with sculptor Dave Venemeyer, who has been a very long time sculptor with Hasbro, doing a lot of the Ghostbusters and classic Star Wars stuff. Next, they interviewed the real Ghostbusters marketing team. They talked about their favorite Kenner Ghostbusters toys, some memories, and how it was bringing the toy line back to shelves. It was honestly kind of boring. They did introduce the Kenner Ghost Popper, which is a throwback to a classic role-play toy. All of the Kenner Real Ghostbusters toys are Walmart exclusive, so good luck with that if that's your thing. Next, they had Jason Reitman on, and he did a thing where he talked about the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie and the Ecto-1 and how cool it was interacting with the Ecto-1 in person. And then he showed off the Plasma Series Ecto-1 Afterlife version. It's a 1/18 scale vehicle, so it's too small for the Plasma Series figures. It's a Target exclusive, and I don't care about it at all. That wraps up the Ghostbusters panel. Finally, we have Power Rangers, which I cared about a little bit more, but at this point I've been watching and sitting in my chair for 6 hours, and there's really never a good time to get up. At real cons, there's breaks and stuff like that. Anyways, let's finish off the Power Rangers panel. They started off actually by introducing a retro line. Retro lines seem to be very popular now because people my age want to remember things and recapture that feeling of being, I guess, a younger age now. So retro lines are all the rage. So what they're doing is they're bringing back the retro style Power Rangers figure with the swapping heads. They've retooled the swapping head gimmick, so you don't need to reload it. You can just keep pressing the belt and it will keep flipping. They come with 9 points of articulation. They're all ball joints. And just like the original, the weapons combine. Also, they took a lot of steps to recreate the throwback packaging. So the figures they showed off were the Red Ranger, Jason, Blue Ranger, Billy, Pink Ranger Kimberly, and Black Ranger Zach. I assumed we'll get white, green, and yellow in the next wave, but who knows? They also did say they're going to branch out into other Power Rangers lines with this, so not just Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but like Zeo and whatever else there is out there. Next, they had some really cool reveals for the Lightning Collection. They're doing a Power Rangers Zeo Megazord because it's the 20th anniversary of Power Rangers Zeo. This is not scaled to go with the 6-inch figures, but it's still very big. I believe it's 12 inches tall. It has alternate heads, optional wings, it's fully posable. It's not individual Zords that come together, it's just a really big, well-articulated figure. Next, they introduced the Power Rangers Monster Collection, which is a new scale and a new line to go with the Lightning Collection. So it's to be sort of in-scaled Lightning figures, but they are larger figures. The two monsters they showed off first are King Sphinx and the Pumpkin Wrapper. They both look great, but the thing that I like the best was the Pumpkin Wrapper comes with pumpkins to put on the Rangers' heads, so you can actually pop off their heads and put on a pumpkin, which is kind of fun. The next line they talked about is the Lightning Collection Verse series. So it's a multi-pack with people that usually fight each other. So the first one they showed off was SPD B Squad versus A Squad. I've never seen Power Rangers SPD. I collect this line because I like the way the Power Rangers look, have no idea what's going on with the story, and I kind of don't care. The next is the In Space Red Ranger versus Astronema. Apparently Red Ranger and Astronema are brother and sister, so that's kind of the whole premise behind In Space, or it's one of the things about it. In the regular line of Lightning series, they're coming out with 3 new figures for it. First one is Dino Thunder Red. He comes with a sword and a staff and a new flame effect that goes on either of them. The flame effect looks rad. Next, we're getting the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Green Ranger. This is a little different from the Green Ranger that came out last year. This one is more show accurate and it comes with a unique Tommy head. This one has a headband to look like he did when he first joined the show. And next we have a Z Putty, which, you know, is fine. Can't go wrong with more putties. Next, they did show off the metallic armor upgrade for the Pink Ranger. This is basically because there was one episode of the show where they had like a metal upgrade, but it was just all sparkly, and they're recreating that with this where it's sparkly. This one though, since it's not Kimberly underneath the helmet, it is Cat. They are swapping out the head to Cat's head. So if you're a fan of the later seasons of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you're getting a Cat head to go with this Pink Ranger, and that's pretty cool. The last part of the panel was the Power Rangers Entertainment panel. Andre of Black Nerd Comedy hosted it. He is obviously a gigantic fan of Power Rangers, and the people that were on the panel with him were the current Beast Morphers. It sounds like their show is ending. I'm glad that they had their time in the spotlight. Again, I don't really watch any of the shows, but I still watched this because it was interesting to watch. Finally, they finished off the whole day with a Fall Out Boy concert. Honestly, I didn't even watch it. If you want to go watch this, they put it all on their YouTube channel, Hasbro Pulse. So if you want to go see this stuff, you can. I got bored and tired and I had other stuff to do, so I didn't even watch the concert. That's that. What was your favorite thing revealed today? There's a lot. That was a lot of information, probably too much information. I want to say that my favorite thing was probably some of the Beast Wars Kingdom figures are great, but also some of those G.I. Joes are also good. I would say if I had to pick just 2 things, one from each, I would say I'm really excited we're getting the Cobra Infantry Trooper, trooper that I don't have to scour targets for. I can order as many as I want and not feel bad about it. And then I think in the Transformers reveal, that Beast Wars Megatron looks so good. I'm very excited to get him in my collection. So let me know what you were most excited for. What was the thing that you cared about the most? What was your favorite part of the convention? What was your least favorite part of the convention? My favorite part is that it was free. My least favorite part was basically just how long it was and how just cramped and it was for information. But I guess the normal person that doesn't feel the need to watch the whole thing doesn't really care about that. I probably could have ducked out for Zoids and not missed anything. Let me know down in the downstairs area what you liked about it. I love to read and respond to all of those. And with that, that's all I've got. Thanks for watching. Thanks for getting this far. And I'll see you later. Bye.